It may be hard to imagine digging yourself out of $100,000 in credit card debt and boosting your credit score by 400 points. But it's possible. Just ask Lynette Khalfani Cox. Khalfani Cox boosted her credit score from the low 400s to a perfect 850 after spending 3 years paying down her debt. Now, the New York Times best-selling author teaches others how to do the same through her books, including the newly released Bounce Back: The Ultimate Guide to Financial Resilience, and her financial education platform, The Money Coach. Although her credit score sits at 806 as of the last report date on January 20th, she says she still receives the same benefits as when she had a perfect 850. That's because Khalfani Cox's most recent score still places her in the exceptional credit score category. Here are the ranges Experian defines as poor, fair, good, very good and exceptional. But you don't necessarily need to be in the 800 range to get the most favorable terms when you're applying for something like a new credit card or personal loan, says Khalfani Cox. Over the past year, her score has fluctuated from 765 in February 2023 to 839 in August of that year to then 806 as of January 2024. My 800 or my 850 FICO score is not going to get me any better loan rates or terms than the person who has a 760 or 780 FICO score, Khalfani Cox tells CNBC Make It. Once you're in the perfect credit scoring range, banks are going to fall all over themselves to do business with you. Since your payment history counts for 35% of how your credit score is calculated, Khalfani Cox is sure to never miss a payment. I have a very long established credit history over 25 years, she says. I have an excellent payment track record and I never miss any payments. Additionally, Khalfani Cox never uses up her entire credit limit, which helps her keep her credit utilization rate under 10%. Your credit utilization rate is the amount of your available credit you're using and counts for another 30% of how your credit score is determined. So-called FICO high achievers who are in the 760 to 850 range generally have a 10% or less credit utilization rate, and I usually keep my stuff in that zone, she says. She also doesn't apply for new credit cards or loans unless she truly needs it. That's because when you apply for a new line of credit, lenders perform what's called a hard inquiry, in which they pull your credit report from one of the 3 main credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax or TransUnion, to take a look at your credit history and get an idea of how risky it could be to lend funds to you. How much a hard inquiry affects your credit score varies, and it only accounts for 10% of how your score is calculated. However, it can temporarily lower your score by a few points, according to FICO's website. That matters because a small drop in your credit score can make a big difference when it comes to getting the most favorable terms from lenders.